Welcome to the Eddie Lam Show. We dedicate this podcast to interviewing musicians of every kind, as well as online content creators on social media. Whether if they're starting out or if they're already on the rise and still growing, this show is all about having a fun conversation with our guests, talking about their favorite things that relate to their passion for their projects. Thank you so much for tuning in, and let's have that conversation. When it comes to getting your original music out there without the help of record labels, it requires way more hard work. However, with the combination of careful planning, determination, consistency, thinking outside the box, and other necessary tasks, things are possible. This artist is from across the pond, has played in her local scene for many years, and she even got featured on BBC Radio. Her name is Nathalie Miranda, a singer and songwriter and performing artist from England. We'll be talking about her diverse songwriting styles, production skills, and much more. Okay, everybody, my next guest is from across the pond. I have this amazing artist here on Zoom with me. She is an amazing vocalist, and she has had some really great buzz going around from BBC Radio, and you can see her amazing music videos and amazing tracks on both YouTube, and here you can listen to them on Spotify. Great songwriter, very catchy stuff. It's got some really great nostalgic tunes, sounds from the 70s, 80s, 90s, and so forth. We met during the pandemic, actually, and when I first checked out her tunes, I was blown away. So without further ado, this is our amazing artist, singer, songwriter, and producer, Nathalie Miranda. Welcome to the show, Nathalie. How are you doing today?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing stupendous. Thank you so much, Nathalie. I'm so glad to have you on the show. So, of course, you and I became pandemic buddies during the 2020s.
We did.
Yeah, on both Instagram and TikTok. And hearing your stuff was just so refreshing. You know, I checked out your music, and of course, we all, for those who haven't, who may have known you for quite some time, you've been doing this for a long time. Pre-pandemic, obviously, you've done different shows around town. You've recorded, but when everything shut down in 2020, what were your thoughts when that all went down? That you couldn't do live shows for the time being?
It was very strange, and kind of panic sort of sets in as well. You're kind of a bit like, well, how am I going to? At the time, also, I had a part-time job on the side, but how am I going to get my music out there? How am I supposed to do showcases? How am I supposed to show people what I can do? And I'd never actually done any live streams before that point. Being sort of a virtual singer wasn't even on my radar. I very much prefer being with people in a room, with live musicians and that kind of aspect of the
Connecting
business.
to the live audience, yeah.
Yeah, and it was very strange. And it took me maybe a couple of months, maybe even 2 to 3 months to even start doing any live stream. I was scared to touch it. I didn't know what it was about, how people would react. And eventually I started doing a couple on Instagram, a week, and then I went over to TikTok and started doing actually TikTok came much later, but by the end of it, by like mid 2021, I was going live on TikTok twice a week, Instagram twice a week, Facebook once a week. There's also some other platforms that I joined where people buy a ticket to see you. Stage It is one that I use, and that was amazing because I was obviously able to earn money from it.
That's right.
But it's still very odd. I mean, I still use Stage It as a means of earning money as a full-time musician. But for me, nothing beats real live performance in a venue, in a location with human beings around you, and getting the vibe off the audience. And yeah, so I'm very much making the most of that.
And just hearing
Wow.
them, like, hearing their response after you do your number, right?
Yeah.
Like the cheers, the "We love you, Natalie" from the audience. The positive heckling, right? Like I bet you missed that during that time.
Yeah, it was very, and I even so far as I got like a sound of people clapping, and I would play it on my live streams. At the end of my live streams, I'd press
Nice.
a button and you get people going, woo!
Those
So
little toys, where you press that button and then it
yeah.
creates an audience. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You and I, we went virtual. All of us musicians had to go that route.
Yeah.
What was something that you valued from that experience?
I I think it really did open my music up to an international audience. I think before, so Catch 22 was the first single I released during that period. It was in September 2020.
Hmm.
And I think because everybody was stuck at home doing nothing, they were turning to music and, finding new musicians, new artists, and that kind of thing. I'm very grateful for the people that found my music during that period. I don't think I would have even have thought about doing a live stream had it not been for the pandemic, and that may have negatively impacted my fan base and my career. So I think I'm grateful for the opportunities live streaming gave me and is still giving me, to connect with people all over the world, like
Hmm.
like yourself.
That's right. Yes, I think I was one of the very few
um,
Canadians that started listening to you during that time in the initial stage of your virtual presence.
yeah. Yeah, so I'm very grateful for that. But I would love for one day to do a real life show, do an international tour or something. But that's something along the line. But yeah.
Well, if you ever do come to Vancouver, Canada, we should definitely jam on a few songs together.
100%, 100%.
um, so your song Catch 22, as you mentioned, I remember when I first heard that song, what came to mind was this needs to be in a movie trailer.
Oh.
I don't know what genre movie for movies it would be, but I can definitely see it like when you hear that announcer going like this summer, and then your song can just pop up just like that, right? And then when you hit the chorus, like the chorus had such a very epic sound to it, right? It's that's why like
Yes.
it's so cinematic. I'm like,
Yes.
yeah, movie trailer first thing. Maybe like say like a crime drama or maybe a superhero movie, whatever it may be. Like yeah, if Marvel could use Catch 22, the chorus of it, to advertise the next superhero show, was that your
I'm down. I'm
intention?
absolutely down with that. Yeah. um, it was. I have a flair for the overdramatic. I love just being overdramatic in my music, and very passionate. And so that does come out in my songs. But Catch 22 was more about being, as the title dictates, very confused. You don't know
Mm-hmm.
whether to listen to your head or your heart. And I wanted the music, the production to convey that. So that's why you get this kind of sort of very mellow verse, and then it just goes boom into the chorus. So yeah, but a lot of people have said that it sounds like a movie soundtrack, and even like Bond, very Bond-esque as well. So I would totally be happy for that. So if anyone's listening, give me a shout.
Daniel Craig, if you're listening to this, we got some song selections for you. Oh, well, do you have a favorite Bond theme that gets stuck in your head?
That's a really tough question. I actually prefer the slightly older Bond themes. So I think I really like License to Kill, again because it's just super dramatic.
That's right.
Um, I like Aha's Living Daylights as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but more recently, I think my favorite one is You Know My Name.
Chris
That was my
Cornell.
favorite. Yeah,
Yeah, the late great Chris Cornell. And
yeah.
actually, so funny. You are the second guest in my show to have mentioned that title as well.
Ah,
So
excellent.
yeah. um, and when we think about soundtracks, I mean, like, what do you think defines a good movie soundtrack? When it comes to musical value to a movie, what makes it so great when you add it to any show?
Um, that's a good question. I think it does definitely need to complement what's going on in the actual movie, the visual.
Hmm.
Um, but I think it needs to take you on a journey. So, like if just, for something simple, if they're driving down the highway in an open top car or something, you need something that's very cinematic, like dramatic. You need something it can't just be like some sort of acoustic guitar, depending on what the scene is, obviously, but
Yeah.
it needs to match. And actually, if you think about it, movies or anything, TV without music is actually really, really boring. It would be totally dull if you didn't have that electric guitar or the drums or whatever it might be. Imagine watching something like Star Wars without that epic John Williams soundtrack. It would be almost ridiculous.
Yeah, and all
You
all
know what I
these and
mean?
all these strings players wouldn't have any jobs if they were cutting back on
Yeah.
that.
So music is massively important for movies for sure.
And uh, if you could put your songs in any movie or any TV show, any video game of your choice, which one would it be?
um, I think I'm gonna have to go with Bond. I would just love to do a Bond theme. It would just be it'd be so cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Would you write one just based on the title that they give you?
Yes, I would definitely do that.
Awesome. That's good stuff. So let's talk about your tracks that at least the ones I've heard throughout your whole journey during the pandemic. Going back in time, of course, you've released this a long time ago, but I've only discovered it during the 2020s. Battle Scars. I
Yes.
love Battle Scars because it has that old school 70s funk style to it, right? And even like the way the bandmates in your video, like you and all of them, you guys dressed like the 70s, the bell bottoms,
Yes.
the funky graphics, that display on the screen. I was just like, man, this is so cool, and people can dance to it. What was your inspiration behind that sound?
So, Battle Scars was a sort of a weird one because the very opening line is "I cried a river, then built a bridge to get over it," and that was actually spurred by something my friend said.
Wow.
Something had happened in his relationship, and he said, "I cried a river, and I built a bridge, and I survived," or something like that. And
Right.
I went, "Oh my God, that's really cool." So I sat down and I just wrote. It was very, very fast lyric writing.
Wow.
So
Nice.
then when I sat down with my co-writer, who's my husband, and my producer, I said I want something that sounds like the band Free,
Yeah.
Paul Rogers. I want something really raw, kind of like 70s rock. And he was like, okay, so he kind of, got this track together. And it turned out exactly as I had imagined it in my head. I just wanted to do something that was very different to the previous track, which was Catch 22.
Hmm.
And there's a chat between the guitar and the vocal in the breakdown, which was really fun to do. And that was inspired by Steve Vai, who
Yes,
does a lot of
definitely.
chat on his guitar. And my husband's a massive fan of Steve Vai, so he was like, "We should do this chat." I was like, "That's amazing, let's do that." So yeah, it's always a really fun one to perform live as well, with my guitarist, and yeah, it's one that sticks in people's heads, which I'm really happy about.
If you ever did that song live, would you consider having a horn section with you?
I would love to do any of my songs with a totally live, like with some of them like could kind of where they deserve an orchestra as well, some of them. So I would love that. That's an absolute dream of mine to do something like that.
Yeah, and like I could see something like that if, let's say, if there was any other new Charlie's Angels movie coming out, like going back to
Hmm.
soundtracks, like that could be so perfect for it.
That would be, yeah. And actually, some of the there's a in the music video, some of my outfits were inspired by Charlie's Angels. So
Yeah, there you go. Full circle right there.
exactly.
Yeah. So you hit different eras of sounds from these different decades. So we know your influence of 80s electronic music as well. So Back to
Yes.
Life, This Is Love, Is This Love, uh, has that 80s inspired sound. You know, when you talk about like early Madonna, right? You know, Tears for Fears, or anyone else you
Yes.
can think of. That's what comes to mind when it comes to 80s. That synth sound, right?
Hmm.
Even Van Halen during that time, they used that sound for songs like Jump and Love Walks In, et cetera, et cetera. But Back to Life is very positive. Lyrically, it's amazing. It's almost like you're giving people that hope through your lyrics, through the music. Tell us a little bit more about your inspiration behind the scenes of writing Back to Life.
Sure. Back to Life wasn't actually something I wrote for me. I wrote it for a whole bunch of songs I wanted to pitch to publishers.
Right.
And we wrote it, we recorded it, sent out this whole bunch of songs. No one wanted them, and I almost forgot about the song actually. And then when it came time to following up "Is This Love," which was another 80s song, I said to my husband, "What about Back to Life?" And he was like, "Oh, yeah, actually, that could work. Like we could redo the production and make it more synthy and things like that."
Right.
And it just came from that. And lyrically, yes, it's about believing in yourself. It's about being happy with who you are and accepting who you are, and being fine with the fact that not everybody's going to like you. And this isn't just related to music, it's
That's right.
in life in general. To be confident enough and to know yourself enough to know
Hmm.
that it's okay if someone doesn't like you or someone doesn't want to listen to your music or whatever it might be. You believe in yourself, and uh, that in itself is empowering. And releasing Back to Life when I did in 2022 came at that right moment for me, because I had just about had enough of people telling me that my voice was weird, that I'm not poppy enough, this, that, change your image, blah, 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 blah. I just about had enough of it. And so when Back to Life, when I released it, it was almost like a freeing experience for me as an artist and as a human.
Yeah.
Um, so and I think people really, really feel it. The music video reflects that as well. It's literally me running away from my camera guy.
Yes.
um, and that's of it. That represents me running away from my past self, my former self.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so yeah, and yeah, it is a song that I'm very proud of, and one that I still push today. I want people to hear it, to connect with it, to know that it's okay to be yourself.
Yeah.
And also, hey, if anyone hears it and wants to play it on their radio station, or put it in a movie or something, then that would be great too. But it's a song that I really, really believe in, and I really hope that something can come of it.
I mean, don't be surprised if this gets added to the ending credits of a half-hour drama show.
Ah, would love that.
Name any teen drama show. You could put that in there.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. And if people haven't heard this yet, too, I did a rock remix of that.
You
So
did.
please
Oh
check that out.
yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, so please check that out on YouTube when you guys get a chance to. We because of when I was complimenting your 80s style sound, I give it more of that Van Halen kind of vibe with a guitar solo in the middle of that, right? But I won't give too much of
Yes.
it away. But it still has that 80s sound with the synth and all that stuff. But there's a bit of there's some edge to it too. So if you love Van Halen, make sure you check that out too. Yeah, little side promo there. But so is this love? That has rom com written all over it as well.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. So when you wrote that, like you must have just thought about your favorite '80s pop artists when you wrote that, right? Like Cyndi Lauper, probably, or Madonna. Like, what came to mind when you were putting this song together?
So, Is This Love Again has a little story. I was really ill when I came up with the idea for the melody, and I'd lost my voice, and I had no way of getting the song out. So I went to my piano and I just kind of sort of, played the melody idea. And then when I was better, like we kind of, I wrote the lyrics and got everything ready. And again, it was a demo. We put it together with this whole bunch of songs to pitch.
Right.
Um, Kind of forgot about it again. And then when it came to sort of reassessing the song, my husband did a whole new production and I rewrote some of the lyrics because I realized they were very generic. And I thought, no, I can do better than that. So I changed them around. I wrote a whole new middle eight section as well. But yes, I was inspired by songs like I Want to Dance with Somebody,
Hmm.
Girls Just Want to Have Fun, Madonna's 80s hits. I love the 80s. It's my favorite decade
Hmm.
that I wish I could have lived through properly.
That's right.
Um,
Amen to that.
oh my God. And I wanted it to just be really pure 80s pop, cheesy, unabashed fun. And it's got a key change in it as well, which is like my favorite thing
That's
ever.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the music video again is really fun. I got to dress up as if I was an 80s teenager, and
Hmm.
it was just really fun. And again, it's one that's really close to my heart because it
Hmm.
allowed me to live my 80s dream.
We look at the music video of that song, which is on YouTube, by the way, folks. Um, it's very relatable too because when you're all just reenacting like being single and there's someone that you're seeing and you're just so over the moon excited about it. It's like it's still very relatable because with all the single folks out there who are probably looking for love, it, when you see that video, it's like, yeah, like this is how I feel on my first date with somebody. I'm excited. I just want to tell my friends and family about it. And you couldn't wait to tell that. But I think what really makes you so outstanding as an artist, even just from your music videos too, lyrically and visually speaking, is the relatability.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's really important because I kind of growing up watching MTV, I always wanted to have my own music videos, and it took a lot longer to be able to achieve that. But now I have the ability to make them. It's so important to make sure that it matches the music, that it brings it to life,
That's right.
especially in today's social media extravaganza
Yeah.
world that we live in, so it really needs to just bring the audio to life. And it's my favorite part of any project, thinking of a concept for the music video and enacting it out and becoming a different person, taking a different role on. I absolutely love it.
And who's the amazing team behind the camera? Is it someone that we can give a big shout out to?
Yeah, it's my friend David Brandt, and he's the only person I've worked with on music videos since Red Light back in 2017. So
Wow.
yeah, David Brandt is a legend. I have done a couple of music videos on iPhone myself with my husband, but the really awesome ones in 4K, they're
Yeah.
David Brandt.
There you go. Shout out to David Brand, everybody. That's awesome. And you were talking about Whitney Houston as one of your influences. When you
Mhm.
listen to her stuff, like when you look at her, do you feel motivated to want to challenge yourself more vocally? To like reach at her, maybe not, no, not to sound exactly like her, but just to kind of reach her skill level. So anytime you hear a Whitney song, you're like, okay, challenge myself by maybe learning the song or maybe just reaching that technique.
Yeah, I mean, Whitney's been a part of my repertoire for many years. I sing a lot of Whitney songs. Um, Where Do Broken Hearts Go is one of my
Hmm.
favorites. Yeah, she's been a massive inspiration to me vocally, and also I watched the biopic as well, and kind of like learning, that she was very active in the songs that she chose. She may not have written them to begin with, but she chose the songs that she thought were going to complement herself, her
Right.
vocals the most.
Yeah.
And that's really important as a vocalist, because I get offered can you sing this for me, or will you do this? And if I don't think it's going to work for me, you have to be honest with yourself and say, no, that doesn't suit me, or I can't do justice to that. You'd be better off getting someone else to do this, or whatever it might be.
Mm-hmm.
And that was really powerful to watch, that in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Mm.
but I think she's just there'll never be anyone like Whitney. She's just, oh yeah, she's the best.
But just like what Whitney has done, you adapted your genres as well along the way. When that it was such a throwback when Whitney was doing songs even in the '90s, right? You can
Hmm.
tell she's adjusting to that era when all these other more, back then that was considered, it was modern, but she was trying to be more modern during that time in the '90s too, trying to have the
Hmm.
same sounds as like, like more like '90s dance, kind of like, or
Hmm.
sounding like maybe sound like Destiny's Child, trying to sound like, TLC, or like during
Hmm.
that time, right? But you have hit all these other decades along the way too, yourself. Um, I mean, look at we when we go on Spotify, we listen to the songs like that you've done, like "I Won't Let Go," or "I Won't Let This Go," and "Soul on Fire," and "Talk to Me." Like those were your '90s sounding dance music, which I thought, well, this is so perfect for a fashion show, or maybe working out at a
Yeah,
gym, and
yeah.
I just love how you are also adaptable on your end as well. Uh,
Oh, thank you.
yeah, and so so let's talk about those compositions that you've done. So maybe I won't let this go. So how did this whole song come to life?
So the dance tracks are a whole sort of separate chapter for
Right,
my music. So
right.
they kind of came about, it's like 2017. A friend of a friend needed a female vocalist.
Mm-hmm.
And this friend of mine said, you need to talk to Natalie because she's got this like diva voice.
Amazing. Yes.
Um, and I Won't Let This Go wasn't actually written by me. It was written by Ryan S., who is a really, really big name in the dance world over here.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Um, and so he wrote it, and I put my vocal on it, and it's produced by Babbitt, who's an Italian producer. He's amazing. And
Wow.
that track went on, especially through the pandemic. That track really helped introduce me to other producers. They heard me, they contacted me and said, hey, we heard you on Babbitt's song. We want you to do our song. And I ended up just becoming this dance vocalist on the side. But it turned into a lot of co-writes as well, which has been really
Yeah.
cool. Some of the time I was just featured. Sorry, some of the time I wasn't featured. I just wrote it and they didn't use my name, which I'm happy with. That's
Okay.
fine. Um, some of the time they wanted to feature my name. That's also fine. I don't
Yeah.
mind. Um, it's just something I do on the side as well. But it's most of them are co-writes and features,
Yeah.
which is really nice. It's kind of funny that I Won't Let This Go and Soul on Fire, which I did put lyrics to Soul on Fire. Um, they're
Awesome.
my most streamed songs, which is it's great, but it's, for me it's kind of like, oh no, why can't it be one of my own songs? It's my most streamed song.
I know. I know. But
But
but it still shows that you've done such a great
yeah.
job with those songs anyways. Like you did them
Thank
justice.
you.
Like seriously. The intro to Talk to Me, that I think was where I've heard you hit the highest note, at least from what I've been hearing
Right.
so far. But when you're like, talk to
Talk
me, I'm like,
to
oh
me.
my
Yeah.
goodness. Yeah, I'm like, oh my goodness, that was so epic.
Yeah, it's been fun kind of figuring out where to take these dance tracks, because a lot of them sound the same. A lot of them lyrically are the same, like put your hands up, love, and all this kind of stuff. I always like to change things around a bit because I get very bored easily as well. So I try to
Yeah.
take things a little higher if I can, or take it lower where you wouldn't expect it to go lower, or whatever it might be. And like to change the lyrics and make them a bit more unexpected as well. So
You and I were for the similar era of us early millennials here. When we hear songs like "Everybody Dance Now," it also
yeah,
kind of like now every time I hear that, I kind of hear your voice doing that too. I'm like, yeah, I mean now I could pull off doing "Everybody Dance Now," or what's the other
yeah.
one like? I got the power, power.
I've got the part. I actually did a TikTok singing that because somebody had posted on one of my videos saying that they didn't think something like you've got such a powerful voice for such a tiny person. I bet it's not even you singing or something. So I responded to that comment by singing, I've got the power, like,
Oh my goodness,
really loud.
yes.
And they were like, oh my God, it is actually you. And I was like, yeah, it's me.
Oh my goodness, yeah. Because I was at a festival this past Saturday, right? And I remember like there was this DJ. He was just like spinning that song. He was spinning "Everybody Dance Now," and
Right.
like I don't know. Even though like it's that song's like what like over 30 plus years ago, right?
Yeah.
It's so fascinating how something as timeless as that. Like people are still dancing to it. So this DJ like it was just during intermission like when the bands were switching, right? So after this one band finished playing, the DJ plays during intermission, and he was playing "Everybody Dance Now," and then like all these kids and even the old folks, they were just like dancing, boogieing down to it, and they just really enjoyed it, right? I'm like, wow, this is still pretty relevant today for some reason, but it's got a nice beat to it and all that, and but what I like about what you were also doing for those dancing tunes too that we just talked about, it I don't know what it is. It's just that your voice, it's so distinguishable, but for some reason, when it comes to these really upbeat tunes that people can dance to, it's like your voice just blended so well, even with all with like your '70s sound, your '80s sound, and the '90s dance sound. I'm just like, man, like you are so adaptable as a
Oh,
vocalist. You know,
thank you.
when I hear "Everybody Dance Now," I'm just thinking, yeah, like even all the songs that you have done, yeah, like I can see people like dancing to your stuff if you ever, when you perform live, with whether it be with a DJ or with a live band, like it seems like you represent having a good time.
Yeah, that's a really nice way to put it, actually. But and I think on that note, um, a lot of people, in this industry have told me along the way that I need to pick a genre and stick to the genre. And I really resent that
Oh
because as
yeah,
as a
oh
musician, as an
yeah,
artist, I love music. I love music, all music. And if a particular genre of
yeah,
music has inspired me,
yeah,
I want to use it. I want to pay tribute to that, like I did with the 80s. Is This Love? I'm I wouldn't describe myself as a retro artist. I just like
yeah,
retro music at times, and I want to use it
yeah,
to make my own kind of sound as
yeah,
well. And I really, I'm an independent artist. I can do what I want. I don't have anyone breathing down my neck, and I really resent it when people feel they have to tell me that I need to pick a box
that's right.
and sit in the box. And I'm just like, no, absolutely not. I'm going to keep changing it on purpose now, just to really irritate you, because I love music. And while I'm
Yeah,
able to make music, while
yeah,
I'm healthy and,
yeah,
alive, I want to enjoy music, and I want other people to enjoy the music I make. And people like different types of music. So I want to explore as much as
yeah.
I can.
Even if you go back in time, look what the Beatles did too, right? They went from "Money Can't Buy Me Love," which catchy pop rock sound, but then
Yeah,
they went a little bit different when
totally
did
different.
"I
Yeah.
Am the Walrus," which is completely different from
Mm,
from what they were doing. Even the Beach Boys too, right? When Surfing USA, of course, most popular tune out there, very catchy. But when Brian Wilson wanted to go a different direction and play songs like "Good
mm,
Vibrations," "God Only Knows," those different key changes with that, right? I'm like, okay, now Brian has really taken the Beach Boys to a different outside the box direction, but everyone loved it, and
mm.
it's like this Brian Wilson guy, like wow, this guy's a genius, right? You adapt to these different genres, especially when your heart desires to do one day I'm gonna do this sound, I'm gonna do this other sound, maybe for the other track. It's like you've created
Yes.
yourself
Yeah.
to become a multi-genre artist, and I and I and we've had those conversations with even with some of our locals here in Vancouver, that we encourage people to be multi-genre because like why do
Yeah.
you of course
Yeah.
if you want to do just this one sound, cool, that's awesome, that's if that's your choice, but if you have that desire to
Hmm.
explore different genres, different sounds,
Yeah.
different production style too, if even go for it, and that's what I admire about what you're doing.
Thank you.
You wrote another empowering song, Echoes. Lyrically, I was paying attention to the lyrics as well, and I'm just like I'm older, I'm free, you're getting wiser, and this is something I feel like is much needed in our playlist today, in our record collection today. Hearing something like Echoes, it's like it's again just like how it is with Back to Life. You are creating empowerment for people. You're creating inspiration. Tell us a bit more about your composition behind Echoes.
Sure. So, again, I had a really bad flu and I was feeling sorry for myself. And I decided I wanted to write a song about growing up and how difficult it
Yeah,
can be.
yeah,
So I got my pen and paper and I just started to write echoes. And it's in the third person until right at the end.
yeah,
I wanted to kind of sort of step away and not say I and just say she. So it kind of could
yeah.
be you're talking about anybody.
Right.
But the song is about you know growing up in a time when I was growing up, it was magazines and the TV that we would look at and compare ourselves to. Oh,
Yeah,
this girl's prettier than me. She's thinner than me. She's whatever. And I did that a lot, and I was pretty tough on
yeah.
myself growing up. I
Oh
didn't
man.
have any self-esteem. I was
Mm,
very low in confidence. I still
right.
am. I'm not a very confident person now, but I wanted to address it and really accept the woman I've become and really
Yeah,
kind of just put all that stuff to bed. And I wanted to call it Echoes because while I may have accepted who I am and I've come to terms with everything, the things are still kind of echoing in the back of your head from time to
yeah.
time. And the difference being now I'm older and I can deal with it more. So I will
That's
react
right.
to things in a different way. Whereas when I was a teenager, I would take it out on myself and say, "Oh, you're not good enough. You're not this," and as most teenagers do. Um, but yeah, I think had I have been strong, if I was stronger enough back then I may have my life could have gone on a different trajectory. I don't know, but this is the way my life has gone, and now I'm here and I'm doing this, and that's fine. So but it's a really really emotional song, and I almost always cry when I sing it.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's very relatable. And going back to what you were mentioning earlier about our journey through using social media during the pandemic,
Hmm.
I think that this is something you and I have experienced when we had to use things like TikTok, YouTube, or Instagram to get ourselves out there. And it's almost like in the back of our head, we always have that imposter syndrome that every content creator has faced.
Hmm.
Especially when the last few years here during the
Yeah.
2020s when these social media platforms were in big use, right?
Yeah.
Um, so my question to you is, what has been one of the things that have helped you overcome these doubtful thoughts?
um I think really again, and it was 2020 that gave me this lesson.
Yeah,
uh you need to accept if you're something like an artist, a creative, anyone that's putting their art out there, you have
yeah,
to accept that not everyone is going to like it. You have to, and you have
yeah,
to um acknowledge that there are going to be haters, there are going to be trolls there, but there will be people that do like you as well. There will be fans, real fans. You have to just accept it all. And when you get the hateful comments, don't engage with them, block and
Yeah.
delete. And I had to learn that because I was like, the first troll I got, I was like, and I found myself explaining myself to these people that I don't even know, I'm never going to meet. And then you
Yeah.
realize, okay, they don't like me. So what? That's fine. I actually don't care. If you think if you think I can't sing, great, move on. If you don't like my hair, I don't care. If you think I'm too short or whatever, I really don't care. Just go away and leave people
Yeah.
that are actually gonna open their minds a bit, and people that actually might like my music
Yeah.
to hear it. And I think
Yeah.
social media really taught that to me in a way that I
Yeah.
don't think I would have learned uh, otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, and I had to learn it the hard way through really bad trolling.
Yeah.
But now, honestly, I just don't let it bother me.
There's constructive feedback, and then there's
Mm,
just trolling. And when trolling is just nothing but slandering, I'm like,
hmm.
okay, this is not helping. Now, someone said, oh yeah, maybe adjust the bass level a bit, maybe do this on the drums, blah blah blah. I'll be like, yeah, okay, cool. That's some very helpful feedback right there. Thank you. See, this is the kind of stuff we need more of, rather than saying
Yeah,
you suck, lol.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I had some guy on TikTok. I did an acoustic cover of Empire State of Mind by Alicia
Oh, okay,
Keys,
yeah,
just like a little section, and he goes, uh, not like the original. And I said, it's not meant to be like the original. I'm not Alicia Keys.
that's the
Uh,
whole point. Yeah,
I'm me, and I'm singing
yeah,
a version. And he said, if you can't take constructive criticism, you shouldn't be an artist. And I had to respond. I said, but it's not constructive criticism. You're telling me that I'm not singing it like Alicia Keys, which I'm
yeah,
not. So
yeah, exactly.
so what
Yeah,
we're having a conversation about here, it's just, I feel like people just feel like they're entitled to give them an opinion
yeah.
when I didn't ask for it, and I will only accept it if you're actually saying something that's beneficial. So, yeah.
We know when someone has good intentions to want to give us
Yes.
a great feedback, but then there's those where you can tell, like, I don't know about this, right? and
Hmm.
and like like your red flags will raise for sure, like once
Yes.
like that, when it's just someone just being a jerk, right? But uh
Exactly.
yeah, I a funny side story too, because whenever I get any kind of negative comments that are not constructive at all on any of my TikTok videos too, actually my wife and I would just be like, wow, I actually got a hate comment, and we're like, yay. Just to get some humor in it, right? So yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, and like you're not doing any, yeah, it's not like you're doing anything harmful, like promoting hate, or slandering someone publicly, unnecessarily too, right? And you're just doing your art,
Hmm.
and you're just like showcasing this is what you can do, and and that's all it is. But I'm really glad that you are able to put up with all that nonsense, but on the comment section especially, right? Because that is probably one of the most dangerous sections of all time on the internet.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's talk about other things when it comes to songwriting. I mean, you are also multilingual from what I hear from the other tracks.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
am. So I've been brought up in London, but I'm Greek Cypriot, so I'm
right.
Greek and English bilingual, native bilingual.
That's right.
Uh, and I studied French and Spanish at university. Ended up getting
That's
a
right.
master's.
Yes, that's right.
Um, and I can also speak a little bit of Italian and a little bit of Russian, just kind of from that. But it was really important for me to include these other skills I have in my music. So I released a Greek song a couple of years ago.
That's right.
Um,
Yes.
that was really a big moment for me of something I've wanted to do for many years.
And
And
that one had quite the buzz too, actually. Hey.
Yeah, it's because even if you don't understand Greek, you can. It's such a passionate language.
That's
You
right.
can
Yeah.
really just you kind of understand what's going on. Um, and then last year I released Terremoto, which was a Spanish song. which I
That's
wrote.
right.
So again, just totally different, but I had a lot of fun with that one. And later this year, I'm releasing a French song, a French ballad
Oh,
that I
there you
wrote.
go.
So yeah.
That is amazing. That's so awesome. So let's talk about production. You have some amazing production skills yourself too. Both you and your husband, you guys have really great ears for audio engineering. At least, from my perspective,
Thank you.
yeah, you're welcome. What is one of the many challenges when it comes to music production? Is it the editing? Is it the recording process? Is it the mixing? Which one? What have you thought was the challenge, but you're overcoming it now?
Well, judging from what my husband does the production, I think for us, because obviously we have a little home studio here, I think mixing is probably the hardest thing
Yeah,
right now, just because we have the room is treated very well. We have soundproofing, but it's not going to be the same as if you're going to Abbey Road Studios or something like
that's
that,
right.
right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
you
yeah.
have to make the most of what you have, and in an ideal world, we'd have a home studio with everything in it, but you just have to
Yeah.
do what you can. So yeah, that's the hardest thing, I think.
Yeah. Do you guys have a go-to software that you would write to your friends about?
Well, I record in Pro Tools. We
Right
would we
on.
do the vocals in Pro Tools, and then it gets exported into Studio One to mix.
Ah, right on.
Apparently, it's a lot easier to mix in there, according to Simon. So
Yes, there you go.
yeah, I'll
Yeah.
just go with that.
Right on, right on. I always like to know what people use because I know everyone's got their own weapon of choice when it comes to
Yes.
production, right? But
Yeah.
it's always cool to know about the behind the scenes with you guys when it comes to making your music come to life, and but even regardless of what software you use, I just love hearing the end result, and I can tell that you guys have such an amazing ear, and you
Oh,
know what sound you're looking for, uh, and like I said, like your vision speaks through your music, and I think that's an amazing thing to see come to life.
thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So if you could uh, perform at any festival in the world, let's say money's not an issue, you got an opportunity to perform at the big stage. Which festival would it be?
Oh my goodness. That's a really, I've never really thought about that. Because I've never even considered really applying to festivals because I don't have a band or anything like that. So, uh, maybe like Rio.
Oh yes, yes, good
Rio would be
choice.
fun, I think. And I have a lot of Brazilian fans, so maybe
Oh,
that's a
there you
good
go.
choice.
Get ready, Brazil. That's awesome. Yeah. Well, about any arenas of your choice as well? It can even be local.
Yeah, do you know, I have a fixation with Madison Square Gardens. I don't know why. I've never even been to the States, but I have a fixation with Madison Square Gardens.
Oh, they would love you
And
in the
here,
States.
oh God, that is like, oh, my dream. But here in the UK, I think like Wembley.
Yes.
Wembley would be the one.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Definitely. Yeah. Maybe the O2 Arena.
Yeah, the O2's not. I went there a few years ago, and it's good, but I don't think it's not the same. Wembley's got the history.
That's true. Yeah.
It's got the magic.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's awesome. So let's do a little bit more fantasy booking here for you. If you could collaborate with any existing artist today, whether it be songwriting or yeah, even just doing a duet together, who would you choose?
Christina Aguilera,
Oh, excellent choice.
100%.
Which Christina song would you sing with her?
I don't know. I really like Fighter. The Stripped album for me is the only Christina album. It's just amazing.
Right on.
Yeah, probably Fighter and maybe Walk Away, which is also on that album.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like those.
Awesome. That's awesome. Christina Aguilera, I mean, she is definitely a vocal powerhouse, right? When you hear
Yes.
her, it's just like, wow, like this gal can sing. And it's interesting how someone like her and Britney and Justin Timberlake, they all came from the Mickey Mouse Club, right?
Mm,
And that was like our generation of during that time as kids, where these kids are just starting out, on a Disney show, and here they were individually just exploding after that as they got older. Um, with Christina Aguilera, though, like you can tell she's distinguishable. Like that's her when she's singing. What was the first Christina song you've heard where you're just like, wow, she's amazing?
so I was a fan from the start, but it wasn't till Stripped that I really became a big fan because I don't think that the pop stuff, I mean, she did a great job on the first album, but I could feel that it wasn't what she wanted to do. And I think a lot of the
Right? Yeah,
fans felt that
Genie in
too.
a bottle. I mean, it's still catchy, though, Genie in a bottle, but like,
Yeah.
yeah,
So yeah, I think for me, I think it was Dirty. I mean, Beautiful is the song everyone talks about, but for me, Dirty was just like it was the first release over here in the UK from that album, and I was just like, yes, this is
yeah,
awesome. This is
yeah.
so cool. And it just hit me at the right time in my life as well. Um, so yeah, but that's always my favorite album. I have all her albums, but that's
Yeah.
my favorite one.
It's such a interesting collaboration too, because that was when she collaborated. I think it was Redman that she collabed with that song.
That's
Yeah,
right.
and
Yeah.
I'm just like, and this is like where they were really like crossing over like pop stars and hip hop artists
Mm,
together. And I remember at least during that time was in the 2000s. I was just like, huh, I didn't think that could be a possibility.
yeah.
But I'm just like because here's Christina and here's Redman. They're coming from different worlds here.
Hmm.
But it works so well production
Yeah.
wise. Yeah, nice. Let's do a more fancy booking here. If you could collaborate with, let's say, Madonna, for example, let's say she brings you up and says, "Hey, Natalie, I want you to sing this Madonna song with me." Which one would you choose if she gave you that choice?
Oh God, that's a really tough question, isn't it? Right. I'm gonna go 80s and I'm gonna say Material Girl or Open Your Heart.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah. I mean, I could also picture you singing like a prayer as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Again, that's. I mean, yeah. That's. I would happily sing any Madonna song that she requested.
Of course, yeah. Amazing. So what about Cyndi Lauper? Let's say she's like, "Okay, Natalie, let's do this song together. Take your pick. Which one would you want to do?" So, what would you sing with Cindy?
I I quite like, or I like Time After Time, but she had this 90s song called You Don't Know Where You Belong, which I really quite
Yeah.
like as well. So yeah, maybe those.
If there was any opportunity for you to, let's say you were on American Idol or any other of those Idol shows, right? And they allow you to pick any Whitney song, which one would you choose during your time at an Idol competition?
Oh my goodness. I don't know. I think okay, so if it was a ballad, I'd probably go with Run to You.
Yes.
Um,
Good
but if it
choice.
was any other song, I might go for like Queen of the Night.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those are good choices. Yeah, because I'm always thinking like if you competed on that kind of show, it's like well the goal is to blow away Simon Cowell,
Yeah.
just to get his impression. Yeah, no, that's awesome. Those are really good choices. So we are just about to wrap up here. First of all, Natalie, thank you so much again for being a part of this
It's
show.
my pleasure. Thank you.
Oh, anytime. So for all the up and coming artists who are new to songwriting, new to production, new to just getting their material out there in the world, what would your general advice be to them?
I would say really trust your gut instinct, and just if you want to do something, try it out. Believe in yourself and just don't listen to all the peripheral noise that might come from other sources. Really just trust in your process and just follow your heart when it comes to music, and just collaborate with people, enjoy it. Don't see it as I've got to become famous. View it as I'm exploring music. I love music. I'm an artist. If anything comes off the back of it, then that's great. But I made the mistake of putting the pressure of fame on me. You have to be famous. You have to be famous.
Yeah.
You don't have to be famous.
Yeah.
If it happens, then that's as epic. It's amazing. Congratulations. But ultimately, we are artists. We are musicians. And if you have to have the love for that before anything else.
Awesome. Those are amazing words to live by, Nathalie. Thank you so much. Where can people find you on the interwebs?
So the easiest place is to go to my website, which is nataliemiranda.com, and all my socials are accessible via the website. I also have a new single coming out on the 12th of July, and it's called You Got Soul, and it's like a funky version of myself.
Awesome.
So yeah, everything is all via my website. Go check it out.
Awesome. Yes. And folks, please feel free to say hi to Nathalie. She is a very friendly person as well. But yes, please check out her material. Very good stuff. Lots of content on both her YouTube, including live videos as well. And of course, go to her Spotify. Amazing, great songs to add to your playlist. If you need something to listen to while you're on the summer road trips, now is the time. Go through Nathalie's catalog and listen to some of her amazing tracks. So Nathalie, thank you so much again. And everybody else who are tuning in, thank you so much for listening to us, and have yourself a really great day. We hope you enjoyed this episode of The Eddie Lam Show, a podcast dedicated to interviewing musicians and online content creators of every kind. If you would like to be a guest on the program, feel free to send me an email at eddielammusic@gmail.com. That's EDDIELAMmusic@gmail.com. Don't forget to check out my website at eddielammusic.ca. That's EDDIELAMmusic.ca. You can also follow me on social media. Username is Eddie Lam Music. That's EDDIELAM Music on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Thank you so much for tuning into our program. In the meantime, stay in touch, stay safe, and as always, stay awesome.